Stand by to fall in, Polk County. This is today's veteran. Hello and welcome, and on behalf of everyone at the Polk County Office of Veteran Services, thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Tim Kirkhart, and on this installment of Today's Veteran, we talk about Operation Outdoor Freedom with Randy Ross. Polk County has nearly 54,000 veterans living in this community. Polk County's Veteran Service Office is here to help current, former, and future service members wade through the intricate and sometimes complicated process of obtaining military benefits. Veterans can take advantage of this free service, which can include providing information about compensation, education and training, home loans, survivor benefits, and military pension, just to name a few. Joining us in studio today are Carlos Gonzalez, Joe Lesnowitz, and Rose Damaris. Welcome to the show.
Sure, thanks.
Thank you.
We'll start with Carlos. Carlos, tell us a little bit about you and how you got to where you are now.
Well, I retired from the Florida National Guard with not quite 26 years. Did 3 years on active duty through several deployments. And I was working in the Florida Department of Corrections when a coworker of mine told me about a position that was open in Osceola County for a veteran service officer. Never knew what a veteran service officer was or did. And so I applied and was hired. Started working with Tommy Maldonado in Osceola County for about 2.5 years. And then when a position opened up here in Polk County, I applied here and transferred here. I was commuting every day about an hour from Winter Haven to Osceola County. And so when the position opened up closer to home, I jumped on it.
And now you are the supervisor for Polk County Veteran Services, correct?
That's correct, yeah, Veteran Services Supervisor.
So far, so good?
Yeah, not too bad. Fortunately, I've got a wonderful, group of guys and girls that we work with every day. And I think the main thing, Tim, that separates us from everyone else is the passion that we have for veterans and ensuring that they maximize their benefits and navigate through the quagmire known as the VA benefit system.
Joe, tell us a little bit how you got here from, we want to know a little bit about your military career.
I was born in Tampa, Florida. I did 10 years in the active duty, just under 10 years. I was medically retired from the military, relocated back to the Tampa area. And after separating from the military, I wanted to do something still working with veterans. And I came across the position to work for Polk County as a veteran service officer. I wanted to continue to reach out and help them the way that I was helped during my process on the exiting of the military.
Tell us a little bit about maybe your background. I know you're brand new here, but tell us a little bit about your background and how you got here.
Well, I heard about the position opening from a friend of mine. I was previously a legal assistant, and I have a very broad background as far as jobs that I've held. I've done retail and food and all kinds of stuff. So I really enjoy the office environment though, and when I found out about this job opening, I thought it would be a great opportunity to work with veterans and really get to see what the county can do for them.
Carlos, what would you say makes Polk County Veteran Services stand tall against other counties maybe?
Well, the majority of the counties in Florida have an excellent veteran service program. Not only do we have county veteran services in most of the counties, but we have wonderful men and women throughout the state of Florida that work for the local post that do an excellent job. They don't do it full time. They do what they can with the abilities that they have. And additionally, we have the Florida Department of Veterans Affairs that assists veterans and their family members with trying to secure the benefits that they're looking for. But Tim, I think what sets us above and beyond our peers is the fact that we're willing to go the extra mile We don't do walk-ins, and that's for a certain reason. We do appointment basis only. And during that time, Tim, when we have a client that's been helped elsewhere or has done his or her own claim, we look at the entirety of the claim or the file and ensure that that veteran or that dependent is getting every benefit that they might be entitled to through the VA.
Good.
So we actually go through and look through their records. It's a time-consuming process at times, but we get veterans from actually from North and South Florida, East and West Coast, because of the great men and women that we have here that are willing to go the extra mile, I would say. And then again, we have the local posts, the DAV, the VFW, the American Legion, that help us by initiating the initial claims process, and then they forward the veterans to us.
When you have a new veteran service officer, which we've had a couple recently, what kind of training do they get, or what is there a planned training program?
There is, Tim. What we like to do is the Florida Department of Veterans Affairs usually has 2 certification classes a year, sometimes more. The one that Joe was scheduled to go to this year in October was canceled, and they moved it back probably about 30 days because of Hurricane Irma. But we do a lot of it is OJT. You have the certification course through the Florida Department of Veterans Affairs, and then it's really what the VSO himself or herself wants to do as far as digging deeper and learning more about the veteran service process.
So the new veteran service officer gets to sit with a seasoned VSO?
Yeah, for instance, Joe here has been working with us now about, what, 2 months, Joe?
Yes, sir.
And he's had the distinct privilege of working with you. You've trained him these last 2 months, Tim, and I've had an opportunity to work with Joe, and you've been doing a fine job so far, Tim.
Thank you. Joe,
Yes, sir.
tell us about your experiences so far in veteran services. Have you actually talked to veterans and dependents about their claims?
Yes, sir. I've sat in on several appointments now over the past few months, discussed many topics with them, ranging from pensions to service connection, disability compensations, and there's a lot to learn. There's a lot of caveats, a lot of nuances, and it's been a great experience so far, but it's one thing that's definitely going to take time to master.
When I started, they told me 6 to 7 years before you would feel totally competent, so I'm still working on that.
You're doing a good job, Tim. It generally takes about 2 years for a veteran service officer to become seasoned.
What's it like, so far, you've only been here a very short time, what's it like working with these men?
It's interesting, to say the least. It's a very great group of guys. I like learning about their backgrounds and about just learning about the different things that they can help veterans with that I didn't know about before. I really love learning about that, and just I feel very honored to work with such a great group of people.
Speaking of training, Carlos, tell us, is she going to participate in any of the training that the VSOs get to do?
Well, Tim, every Tuesday we try to conduct some training because veteran services happens to be a perishable skill. So every Tuesday we try to stay on top of not only the changing things that the VA has come down with, rules and regulations, but also just rehashing some of the old stuff. But she will participate in those weekly trainings, as well as she's going to have the opportunity to go to the Veteran Service Certification course. Now, she won't be certified. She's not a veteran. You have to be a veteran to be certified. But she will get the same training that the rest of us have had. In that way, she's the front line or the first person that gets to meet the veterans, either in person or on the phone. So she's kind of like the tip of the spear. And so any knowledge that she might have will help in triaging the veterans or their dependents and what their specific needs are.
Okay. Tell our audience how it works now. How does a veteran get to see a veteran service officer in Polk County?
Okay, well, our office is located 1290 Gulfview in Bartow. We're open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 p.m. and we don't have walk-ins at this time. We do appointment basis only, generally from an hour to an hour and a half. But the way that it works is they need to call 863-534-5220 and ask to schedule an appointment to see one of our veteran service officers.
Okay. What happens if a walk-in comes in?
Well, generally it depends on what they have. If they have something pending, we'll try to accommodate them and take care of any pressing or time-sensitive issues that they might have. Then we'll schedule them for an appointment. And currently we're looking at opening up a few other satellite offices where we can handle walk-ins, specifically for walk-ins.
Well, listen, I want to thank you guys for coming in today, and appreciate your teamwork, because I work with you. So thank you.
Sure, it's our pleasure, Tim.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
For more information on the Polk County Veteran Service Office, you can look it up on the web at www.polk-county.net or give them a call at 863-534-5225. The Iraq and Afghanistan veterans of Polk County, in conjunction with the Polk County Veterans Council, hold a yearly warrior walk around beautiful Lake Hollingsworth in Lakeland. The purpose of this event is to honor our U.S. soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines who have been killed in action while serving during Operation Iraqi Freedom or Operation Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan. Here are some of the sights and sounds of this year's event.
How should we truly honor the soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines, most of whom we never even met? Those whose names we don't even know, and yet somehow we will never forget. How do we honor strangers who fought for us? Men and women who risked their lives for people they never even knew. How might we honor the sacrifices made so that you and your children and your children's children could live unafraid and free? Perhaps the answer to how we honor our veterans lies in how we treat our veterans. For the living, one of the most meaningful things one can do to honor our living veterans is to get to know them beyond their past military experiences. Make a deeper connection with those who served in the armed forces. Get to know them beyond just who the veteran used to be. People always want to talk about the past, but rarely want to know about what is going on now, what a veteran is currently doing or wants to do next. Many veterans go on doing very noble things. They become students, they start businesses, they run nonprofits, they serve their communities and do various other important things that are just as relevant as what they once did. Veterans simply do not want to feel that their worth is buried somewhere in their past. They are whole people. They are not just former soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines, although that's a very important part of their past and a part of who they are. And just as veterans want to be valued for their lives as they are today, they also want our appreciation to be focused on the fallen. They want assurances that we, the living, will never forget. That we will never forget their fallen brothers and sisters in arms who did not return home and paid the ultimate sacrifice so that we may live free and unafraid.
Welcome back to today's Veteran. I'm your host, Tim Kirkhart. Operation Outdoor Freedom provides wounded veterans with the outdoor activities that they enjoy at no cost. Designated state and agricultural lands throughout Florida grant these veterans unique opportunities for recreation and rehabilitation. The Florida Forest Service, with the Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services, has provided hundreds of veterans with the Operation Outdoor Freedom experience. Joining us today in studio is Randy Ross from Operation Outdoor Freedom. Welcome to the show, Randy.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Well, let's get started and find out what is Operation Outdoor Freedom.
Operation Outdoor Freedom is a program through the Florida Forest Service in conjunction with the Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services of Florida. We take wounded veterans who reside in Florida, hunting, fishing, other outdoor activities, outdoor recreation, to get them out back out in the mainstream and enjoying the outdoors.
How often do you have events?
Last year we had 91 events through our physical year. And it depends, some of them are doubled up on the weekend, some of them during the week. But we had a total of 91 last year.
So do you work for the state of Florida then?
Yes, sir. I'm employed by the Florida Forest Service, and I work for Operation Outdoor Freedom.
And we have a local hero here, that's Adam Putnam from
Yes,
Bartow. Does he participate? I know he's not a disabled vet. But
Yes, sir. He's very active in our program. He is a leader of our program. He's behind it 100%.
Okay. Tell us the procedure. What is the cutoff for the veteran? It is disabled veterans, correct?
Yes, sir. The veteran must be 30% or greater disabled rating or Purple Heart recipient. And they can go online at operationoutdoorfreedom.com and register. That's our registration website. and they can look at the events coming up, and once they are selected for an event, then they have to show proof one time of their rating or the Purple Heart recipient, and they won't have to show that anymore. That goes into the computer bank.
Okay. Tell us again some of the activities. I know there is a gator hunt. Our guest from earlier, Carlos Gonzalez, I know was on that, and
Yes, sir.
No, he didn't get the biggest gator, but
He got a good one.
yeah.
Yes, sir. We do alligator hunts, fishing trips, saltwater and freshwater, deer hunts, hog hunts, turkey hunts, scalloping, lobstering, canoe trips, camping trips, any type of outdoor activity.
Tell us how it works. Is it like a Friday through the weekend, and what actually happens to the veteran?
Yes, sir. Okay, a lot of the events are weekends. Some of them are during the week. We have local coordinators throughout the whole state who help us put these events on, and they'll schedule the dates on those events. But the veteran will, once they apply for an event and they are selected, we'll notify them within 30 days of their selection, and they can make plans on attending. And a lot of it, it's not, if it's a hunt event, it's not the taking and harvesting of an animal. A lot of times it's sitting around a campfire with other veterans. You know, that's kind of bonding, you know, getting back, and you know, some veterans may have issues going on in their life that another one does, and they can open up and talk with each other about it.
You ever have wheelchair-bound veterans
Yes, sir.
participate?
Yes,
How
sir.
does that work?
It works good. We have some dedicated places throughout the state that's on state forest properties, and those are equipped for handicap accessible for wheelchairs and all. We have ramps and everything's set up for those guys, but we do quite a bit of those.
If I was a disabled veteran and I was participating, say it was a weekend, what would happen when I get there Friday? Tell me the scenario.
Okay, normally on a Friday night, everybody will get there around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, depending upon what type of event it is. So I'll just throw out an alligator hunt, for instance. Get there around 4, eat, you know, check in, you know, sign a little bit of paperwork, bond with some other veterans, eat supper around 6, go out right after dark and check baited lines for alligators. Come back when we're done that evening, get up first thing in the morning, eat breakfast, go back out, come back in for dinner, and then usually dispersing by Sunday morning usually.
You mentioned dinner, breakfast. How does that work? Do the vets cook for themselves or what?
No, sir, everything's provided. All they have to do is get there. All the meals, the drinks, they don't have to pay for anything. We have some, we will fund this, and also we have support groups who help us fund that, and they may supply the cooking and the food on each event.
Does the veteran actually kill the gator? I mean, how does that work?
Yes, sir, they'll harvest the gator. The way we do it right here in Polk County, we'll set a line out, a bait, and one veteran will pull the alligator in, the other veteran will harvest the alligator, and then we'll take that alligator and put it in a cooler, and we have a processor out of Claremont that helps us. Terry Parlier, he does a lot of work with us, and he'll come down and he'll bring processed alligator meat that the veteran will take back home, and then he'll process the alligator.
How much meat would they get?
10 pounds of processed alligator meat.
Okay.
And we have been in the past getting the heads mounted for them and returning.
Now, is that something that's going to continue, the mounting?
We're hoping so. We've had some issues with our last taxidermist, so we're working on a process to help that through.
Is the headquarters here for Operation Outdoor Freedom?
Yes, sir. My supervisor is David Hunt, and we both work out of the Bartow office, Department of Ag office there.
Okay. If the veteran registers, how are they selected? I mean, I'm sure you have a lot of applications.
Yes, sir. The selection process is done through a computer-generated selection, and once at the beginning of the physical part of the year, you're in a 100% bucket, and then when you're drawn for an event, you'll go back to like a 15% bucket. You still have 15% chance of being drawn, but as the year continues, you'll go up in a percentage of chance of being drawn. As of right now, we have over 1,300 veterans in our database, and since 2011, we've had 409 events servicing 3,129 veterans.
So a veteran who participates in this fishing event then will go down to the 15%?
Yes, sir. And in so many days, they'll move up to a 30 and then back to a 60. And then at the end of the physical year, then everybody will go back into a 100% chance.
So when they go into the 15%, is there a chance that they get called for the next event?
Yes, sir. Absolutely, there is.
15%?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Their percentage is not as great.
Right, kind of like the lottery and
Yes,
whatever.
sir.
Okay. Now, the events are statewide, correct?
Absolutely. We have a lot of them are done on state forest properties, and a lot of them are done on private properties. We have folks that work with us throughout the state that have big pieces of property, and they want to help us, and help the veterans. So we do both state lands and private lands.
Is there one or two that are the most popular that the veterans want to do more than others?
There is a few, yes, sir. I know we do a Robinson family fishing. A Robinson family puts on a fishing event out of Cedar Key, and that's really a good one. A lot of veterans that have been there, they want to go back to that one. But we have several of them right through the state. All of them are good events, and it just depends upon what the veteran likes.
Do you know what the highest percentage of disabled veteran that you've had in the program? Has it been 100% disabled
Yes,
veteran?
sir. Yes, we have a lot that's 100%. I couldn't tell you how many, but we do have a lot of them.
Specifically in Polk County, what are some of the events that are in Polk County?
Polk County, we do usually 4 alligator hunts a year. We do a Kissimmee bass fishing event, and we do an extra, usually there's 1 extra alligator hunt a year, depends upon the population.
Do you have anything you would like to say to our audience before we end?
Yes, if there's anyone out there, any veterans or family, you can still go look at our website and OperationOutdoorFreedom.com, and we would like to thank the veterans for their service and their sacrifice, as well as their families, because their families have sacrificed as well.
Thank you for coming today.
Thank you.
For more information on Operation Outdoor Freedom, you can check them out on the web at www.operationoutdoorfreedom.com or give them a call at 863-578-1894. That's going to do it for this edition of Today's Veteran. I want to thank our guests today, Randy Ross, Carlos Gonzalez, Joseph Lesnowitz, and Rose Damaris, but most of all, I want to thank you for joining us. Remember, for help and information regarding claims, benefits, and services available to veterans and their families, call the Polk County Veteran Service Office at 863-534-5220 or log on to the Polk County website at polk-county.net. I'm your host, Tim Kirkhart, and we'll see you next month.